Ladies and gentlemen, Marvel Rivals Season 8 is finally here, and with the new season comes a brand new hero, and this time we got Devil Dinosaur. So in this video, we're going to be going over his kit and everything you need to know to learn how to play Devil Dinosaur and carry your ranked games. So getting into it, Devil Dinosaur is a 3-star difficulty Vanguard who's meant to be a big brawler in the front lines, manipulating his abilities to not only keep you alive, but isolate the enemy tanks from their healers. So without further ado, let's get into Devil Dinosaur's kit and abilities. So to start off, Devil Dinosaur has 850 health just like Groot, so while he's not the tankiest tank in the game, he is up there. So for Devil Dinosaur's passive ability, he takes reduced damage from critical hits and is immune to launch up and knockback attacks, meaning Thor cannot move him, Angela cannot move him, the Thing's ultimate ability cannot move him. It just stuns him. So basically, any character that you try to move Devil Dinosaur with will not work. Moving on to his second passive ability, Apex Advantage, Devil Dinosaur gains bonus health when you inflict bleeding and deal damage, which coordinate with all of his abilities. So getting into his primary damage dealer, he does a melee attack that starts a bleed on enemies, and with a basic just one hit, that'll get you to 1003 health. And by doing it twice, that'll get you up to 1050 health, which is the max. It takes 4 of these hits to full kill a squishy because 3 hits and the bleed gets the enemy down to 1 HP. So you want to make sure you're finishing off your squishies. So moving on to his actual first ability, Devil Dinosaur shoots a laser beam that inflicts bleed, slow, and also knocks down airborne targets. This ability works on a charge cooldown basis, meaning you need to watch the bar on the right side of your screen before you can use it again. It needs to pass the red bar and then move on to the white bar. So this ability also does bleed damage, giving you that extra shield like we talked about earlier. So if you're playing against an Iron Man Ultron comp, it'll automatically ground them, making him super viable against flying enemies. Moving on to his left shift ability by default, Devil Dinosaur does a dash and pounce, also applying bleed. However, if the target is already bleeding, then it allows him to pick them up and throw them. So for example, this is it normally. And now that the enemy is bleeding, he's gonna jump and grab the enemy and then throw them. This ability has a 10-second cooldown, meaning you really need to time when you're using this. Moving on to his third ability, he gets a shield, which stops 90% of ultimates in the game and can also block off heals going to the enemy tanks. So as you can see here, if that was a healer, the shots going to the shield are blocked. So if you can trap an enemy tank inside of the shield, then he's not going to be able to get any heals, making it a super easy pick for your team. Finally, for his normal abilities, he has Frenzied Feast, which allows him to basically just do a barrage of attacks. However, these do not do bleed damage. But once again, if the enemy is already bleeding, this is going to do bonus damage and give you bonus health, allowing you to one-shot squishies. So for a very basic combo, if you just use your main attack and then your F ability, that'll one-shot any squishy. Finally, we have Devil Dinosaur's ultimate ability, Devil Beast Rampage. I'm not reading the entire description, but it's a very simple, straightforward ultimate. This lets him run around and cause bleed and ground to enemies, so if they're jumping up in the air, it grounds them. And as you can see, his shield limit is upped by 1,350, so it gives him an extra 200 shield when in the ultimate state. So these enemies are already bleeding, meaning the F ability is going to do a ton more damage. And honestly, I mean, he's just a brawler tank. There's not much else. He's a very good tank. His laser ability also does pierce damage. I forgot to mention that. So it's kind of like Jeff, which is just super broken. And one last thing, when you melee, it's not going to melee in the front, it's actually his tail, so you can melee people behind you to do a little bit of damage. There's no bleed damage, but it's just an interesting melee, not used to anything that we've seen before. Now that you know all of the abilities of Devil Dinosaur, we're going to go ahead and hop into a VOD of mine where I had over 60,000 damage blocked. Now keep in mind, I am not a pro player, I do not know what I'm doing at all whatsoever, but this should give you a decent idea of how you should be playing Devil Dinosaur. Throughout the VOD, I'm going to kind of comment on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and kind of highlight the best parts. So right off the bat here, the Punisher riding on my back and I pick up a couple kills because they push up a little bit too far. And right here is the main thing that I wanted to talk about. So the Punisher right here and the Devil Dinosaur are pushing my Punisher and Devil Dinosaur. And then he pops the shield right here. And then their healers are back here, right? This is gonna be their Jeff back here. I pop the shield, get them within range. The heals coming in are no longer getting to the Devil Dinosaur or the Punisher or the Thing. So the Rocket Raccoon and Jeff are here. They're inside of my shield, meaning they're not getting healed. This allows me and my team to just pick up this whole kill right here, both of them. So we take out... So we end up taking out the Devil Dinosaur and the Punisher. And I'm gonna be honest, one of the biggest pieces of advice I'm gonna give for Devil Dinosaur players off the rip, I know we just got into it, I'm just gonna say, use your laser beam more. And every time I respawn, I always use my shift to get up much quicker and just get back in the fight, since it only has a 10-second cooldown. And like I said, Devil Dinosaur counters Blade, so I'm able to pick him off really easily. And then their Devil Dinosaur pushes up. I see that, pop my shield after I grab him. Then once again, I try and trap the Blade in the bubble, but it is just getting too much lifesteal. And I do end up taking out the Blade eventually. Never mind, no I don't. So then we get under the bridge, and as you can see, their entire team is pushing up. And then I hear my Iron Man use his ult, and so I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is perfect. He takes out the Thing, their Devil Dinosaur gets hit in the maximum pulse, and so he doesn't die to it, but he takes a ton of damage. However, he has his ultimate, which he doesn't have time to pop, and so I end up getting the pick on him. And then, you know, all of their squishies are up here still. So I just kind of get behind cover, try to play best I can, get back behind my team. And then I'm just, again, abusing my beam. When I see their whole team stacked up, and I figured out that my beam does piercing damage, this is, like I said, the biggest piece of advice I can get. Use your beam more. And so right here, all of them are getting bleed damage. Then the Thing hits me with his ult. However, I'm not going to get knocked up in the air. I'm just going to get stunned for a second. Once again, I'm blocking off the Thing from his heals, making it a super easy kill for us. I get the Blade with my range. Devil Dinosaur's pushing up. I'm just getting the bleed and heading back towards my teammates. I grab him, turn around, and fling him back towards my team, away from his heals. And then he goes down. Once again, Moon Knight right here. I'm just using my bleed and laser beam to get as much damage on him as possible. That way my Iron Man up here can get the finish. Then, you know, their whole team pops out. I use the shield defensively here. Honestly, this is my bad. I just pushed up too far when I shouldn't have. And then I see that my ultimate gets ready. I see their whole team here, and I see an opportunity. And then, unfortunately, the Jeff popped ult and swallowed up two of my teammates. And as soon as I get locked in here and I see myself get low, I use my ultimate. And then I lure them out, and then my Iron Man's able to take down both of their tanks. Huge. I run in here. Both of these squishies are in here. I still have 3 seconds on my ultimate. I come in, stomping all over. And I didn't notice until, you know, obviously he was right up in my face, that the rocket actually was able to revive the Devil Dinosaur. And then I see, you know, another opportunity to take out their tank here. And I didn't realize he was using the same technique. I'm in front of him. He pops the shield not only to block damage from himself, but to block off my heals. But my heals were on top of it the whole game. So I'm able to grab him and take him back here. And this is honestly just about blocking as much damage as possible and holding out as long as we can till the timer runs out. Literally, this is the most perfect example. He's going to try and get into this corner so that he can either portal or just save himself. Because honestly, he should have just gone back to his heals. But he went in here, and then I see the opportunity. All his heals there, he's getting healed, but I have my ability. Rip the shield, he's no longer getting heals, just get instantly cut off. And then he's dead. And then this is unfortunate, because as soon as I saw it, I tried to get out, and I was barely in the ultimate. Then he throws me right here. Now, the thing about Devil Dinosaur, even though Jeff can swallow him, he can't throw him. So my teammates got flung away. I just tank it. I'm not worried about the Jeff. I feel like he's going to pose more of a threat. So I immediately jump on him. He's able to get away before I can trap him with my shield. I just jump behind, and then I see just 2 picks right here. Squishy 1, squishy 2, no one else in sight. And then there goes the Jeff. There goes the Moon Knight, thanks to my Iron Man. Time's almost out. I have my ultimate. And I wanted to pop it here, but I also thought to myself, okay, it'd be better to save it. And then once again, Iron Man hits an amazing ult. Huge damage on the Devil Dinosaur. His teammates are far away. I try to get him in the shield. I do get him in the shield. And then their rocket uses their ultimate. He pops his ultimate, goes towards my team. I do the same thing. But they literally have a rocket ult. And rocket got buffed this season. So this was not the smartest play by me, even though I have all the health I do. So once again, I just get back. Both their tanks are up here. I pop my shield to block off heals. Their thing goes down. And then we win the game. So I went 25-8, 16 assists, 9 final hits. I had the most damage out of anyone in the game. 64,000 damage blocked. So overall, Devil Dinosaur is broken, and there's a lot of things I could work on, but I think that is a good representation of how he can be played. Anyways, I love Season 8 of Marvel Rivals. If you guys found this helpful, please drop a like and sub, and I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Peace out.